Howdy, boys and girls. It is week 8 of the college football season, and therefore, it logically follows, since we spent so much time talking about logic a week ago, that this is the Carla and Crappy Show, the week 8 edition of the Carla and Crappy Show. I am Crappy. I am in Pittsburgh. That is Carla, who's down in Nashville. How you doing?
That follows logic again too. Can we not do a logic episode this time?
I don't know why I said that. My brain just did that to me. And we're not gonna bring up that word at all for the rest of the show.
No, I've got another idea where this show might be heading. Logic is not one of them.
No, I don't think that's what we want to do. Carla, have you turned on your furnace yet?
No, but we've turned off the air conditioning.
Okay, that's a big step.
We turned off the air conditioning, and we actually we have a gas fireplace in this lovely new home, and we've turned on the gas fireplace a couple times. It doesn't put off a lot of heat.
Oh, well, it's more right there.
Yeah. It's easy enough to flip the switch, and it's been lovely. Yeah, so we had that on. We had frost on Sunday morning, to the extent that I was almost late for church. Because I did not accommodate for the extra 10 minutes it was going to take for my car to get cleared off. So it is officially fall in Nashville.
Do you need me to send you like a scraper or something?
I actually still have my big Pennsylvania scraper. I kept it.
Okay.
Like I'm the hero of the neighborhood. Because I have
there's your side hustle right there.
Yeah, clearing everybody's car. I actually did that when we lived in the apartment complex. I would clear off every car in the parking lot because I have one of those big push broom ones, the one with the extending handle. And so I would go out and clear everybody's car because I could do it really easily in one fell swoop with that thing. And everyone's like, "Where'd you get that?" I'm like, "I'm from Pennsylvania. It's a thing."
I'm from Erie. Hello.
Exactly.
Our furnace was on briefly tonight, just because it got down to close to 60-ish degrees inside the house. We're going to take the chill off. We have a day coming up where the high is going to be 45, so it's about time anyway. But it just means it feels like football weather. Finally, we've had our AC off for a couple weeks, and now to hear the furnace running, and the cats haven't figured out that they need to go move over by the hole where the hot comes out yet. It wasn't on that long, but that will be coming soon.
And you had a good birthday, I'm assuming?
I had an awesome birthday. Thank you very much. We saw a really cool art exhibit, went to 3 different breweries on my birthday. Just having samples, people. I mean, just little tasty things, but and then and dinner at Larder and East End, where the last time I saw you guys, you and David, we were there, and man, that food, I keep trying different stuff, and it keeps getting better and better and better. So maybe that endorsement deal with East End and Larder is possible still.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Hi, East End. We love you.
Hello. We have a lot of football to talk about. Obviously, I did not see a ton of football from last weekend because I was out running around doing birthday stuff. But I was wondering, did you see anything, and anything stick out in your mind from last weekend?
I saw more than I've seen in a while. My in-laws were here, so we watched quite a bit of football in the evening. My afternoon was a little bit distracted by house stuff, so that's a thing. But my one thing that I want to mention is I think everybody's one thing this week, which was Georgia. And the I texted you after that game was over and said, is Georgia-ing now a thing? Playing the role of Clemson this week, maybe for the rest of the season, will be your Georgia Bulldogs.
I think that question veers off too much towards philosophy, so I'm just not going to answer.
I'm with you on that one. Don't answer that question. But I mean, Clemson might be in the clear because Georgia took their loss this year. That's one of those. It was very Clemson-esque. It was a home game. They were playing in Athens, home crowd against a team that really had no business in being in that game, and they just laid an egg. And so you look at Georgia now, and I hate to say this because I really like Georgia as a team. But Georgia's season now can be summed up in 3 letters, and that is LSU.
Oh, I thought you were going to say SOL, but
no, LSU.
Yeah, that works too. It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, because if LSU and Bama are undefeated, which it looks like they're going to be when they play each other, whoever wins that game ends up going to the SEC title game. If Georgia doesn't win out, you'll have a 2-loss Georgia team, and you'll have a 1-loss either Bama or LSU sitting there idle. We saw this happen a couple of years ago with the playoffs. The committee's going to take a one-loss LSU who's lost to Alabama, or a one-loss Bama who's lost to LSU, over a two-loss Georgia team. So Georgia's only option now is to win out. And that's just how tough the SEC can be. Could Clemson afford a loss? Yeah, because they're probably going to end up winning out after that. But Georgia couldn't, and they got that this week. So it's a long road to haul. They've got to pull for some upsets over on the west side of the SEC there to have a hope to get back into the playoff, or they just got to shut up and win all their games. I mean, that's that they now have complete control of their destiny, so to speak, and the fact that they've got to win out. But yeah, that was probably the biggest stunner of the week. A lot of really close games this weekend. It was a lot of fun.
I watched the highlight show on ESPN Sunday morning to get caught up, and there was a lot of great stuff. I did not see a whole lot on Saturday, so I'm gonna look ahead rather than looking backwards. And you mentioned Georgia. The situation is a little different because Georgia was at home, and that's even a more egregious problem than going and losing a conference game on the road that you're not supposed to lose. But if we look back to Iowa in 2017 and Purdue, which I saw in person in 2018, the game on Ohio State's schedule that you look at and you go, is this Friday when Ohio State goes to Northwestern? I know I talked up Northwestern early in the season. I was assuming that Hunter Johnson was going to be better in that offense than he has been. He in fact lost his starting job to Aiden Smith 2 weeks ago when their last game against Nebraska. I don't know who's starting. I checked around a little bit, but that's not really the point. It is a road game. The crowd there is going to be amped for the biggest game that they have at home this season, and except maybe against Illinois. That's their rival. And if Ohio State, this is one of those heartbreak games. So I did not look up the line. I have no idea what it is. But if Ohio State's not paying attention, the juniors and seniors on that team have been through this twice before. The younger guys certainly would remember last year. So if there's a trap game coming on Ohio State schedule, this is it. So I am more nervous for this game than I probably should be, but that's life as a college football fan. And hopefully Ryan Day will do whatever he can to make sure he has everyone's attention as they go to Evanston this week. Speaking of this week, we have a whole bunch of stuff to go through, starting with our friends in Clemson. We mentioned Georgia-ing and Clemsoning and all of those things. This week, at our weekly look at the Clemsoning Index, the Tigers are at unranked Louisville. What is your Clemsoning Index? Where is it this week?
This is just like Northwestern makes you nervous. This game makes me real nervous. And here's why: because it's on the road at Louisville, and Louisville can score. They beat a ranked team last week. They beat a ranked Wake Forest. No, I did not misspeak that. Wake Forest was actually ranked.
It was. And there was a great finish to that game.
Yeah, but 62-59. So here's the thing. Yeah. Louisville can keep up with Clemson on the points thing. The problem is that Louisville doesn't have a great defense. But if this gets into a shootout, they've proven they can win that kind of game. And this game is on the road at what used to be known as Papa John's Stadium. Now it's just Cardinal Stadium. Another crowd that's going to be amped for a chance to knock off a team that's in the top 1 or 2, depending on what you're looking at. I give this a 6 because if Clemson's not paying attention and they're looking ahead to who's on their schedule for next week, which is a Boston College team. That's not really what we think of with Boston College, but it's got the name recognition, right? Like the Clemson-Boston College thing is a thing. If they're looking ahead next week to Boston College and they're not paying attention, this game could get interesting. So I've got this one as a 6.
This feels a little bit like a Big 12 game.
Yes.
Except
Clemson can play defense.
Clemson can play defense, yes. But Clemson's offense has not been consistent this season. That works in Louisville's favor. Louisville can't play defense to save themselves. Right. But but again, if this gets to be a shootout, and Clemson with just some inconsistencies on offense, that could be an interesting game. My Clemsoning Index is 7.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of keep an eye on this one, boys and girls, and we will see what happened. Next up, AJ, I think AJ nailed his games across the board last weekend. If you followed his advice and stayed up for a Hawaii Boise State, you weren't sorry. I did not stay up for that game, and I was also not sorry because I was really tired. AJ, what's coming up this weekend?
Good afternoon and good evening, or good morning. Maybe you're listening to this in the morning. That's fine. It's week 8, and it is this week's Group of 5 report, coming to you live from a car stuck in traffic somewhere outside of a perfectly fine city like Philadelphia. We're gonna there's nothing. So just in case you're looking for windows of opportunity, you don't need to worry about a Thursday night game or a Friday night game. You don't need to worry about those. Saturday before 3:30, you don't need to worry about anything. There's nothing for the most part. However, it gets spicy after that. We have, starting at 3:30, we have Temple and SMU. Pony Express is back. Maybe not the payment of the players, but the Pony Express is back. They are good. They are fun as heck to watch, too. It turns out that when you put a guy like Sonny Dykes, who is a former Texas high school coach, and you put him in Dallas, and you have him recruit Texas players, turns out he's real good. SMU is fun as heck to watch. Temple has a stifling defense. They've been playing their brains out this year. They are 5-1. They should be creeping on a ranking at this point. Temple is not ranked. I don't know how they're not, or maybe I have that backwards. But it's going to be a super fun game. Temple's not ranked. 6-0 SMU, 5-1 Temple. SMU is potentially on their way to winning the AAC West. This game should be fun. Spread on the game 7.5, over under 59. So a lovely, lovely, fun way to do your afternoon. Are you not into AAC football? Are you not entertained by those sorts of things? Let's take it to the South then. I believe this game, where'd it go? This game is later on in the day. It is Southern Miss versus Louisiana Tech. There's a lot to like about Louisiana Tech right now. They're scoring a whole pile of points. They're 5-1, first in the CUSA West. Southern Miss 4-2, second in the CUSA West. This is a nice little kind of tiny little Conference USA title game for the West, or at least put somebody in the driver's seat for a good bit. Weirdly, games on the NFL Network, because that's where college football is played, on the NFL Network. 1 point spread. Southern Miss favored by 1 at Louisiana Tech, so this should be close. Watch this game. It's on at the same time as Temple SMU, so if Temple SMU gets out of hand, here's a different option. Let's move along to San Diego State, San Jose State. In the past, this was a guaranteed San Diego State dub. It is not now. San Diego State still running the football. I don't know where or how they acquire running backs who are very, very good and very, very durable. They run their guys like crazy. They had Rashad Penny last year. They just continually get running backs. San Diego State favored by 7.5. This is in San Jose. San Jose State is 3-3 this year. Now, normally I wouldn't be putting the shine on a 3-3 team, but when you were like 1-12 last year and you're 3-3 this year, that's a marked improvement. So I'm interested to see where San Jose State goes from here. This could be more fun than it looks like. Also, this game's being broadcast on Facebook. So in case you're wondering, yes, Group of 5 is played in weird places. NFL Network, Facebook, Stadium. The fun part of Group of 5 is that it's like seeing a band in a concert hall before they make it big. And you're like, oh, I remember seeing them on Facebook. I remember seeing them on Stadium. Do you remember Stadium? Yeah, it's like that. Moving ahead to the night slate. 7 p.m., Tulane in Memphis. Willie Fritz has got these kids playing some football down in New Orleans. Memphis is Memphis, right? They're just very, very good. They're both 5-1. This game should be bananas. Should be a very, very fun game. It's on a network you might have heard of called ESPN2. Memphis giving 4.5 here, so a whole lot of opportunity for Memphis and Tulane to show what they're capable of. Is Tulane for real? Is Memphis all they're cracked up to be? We'll find out. Finally, we're going to take it to the night slate. Night slate's a little rough, if I'm honest. Not a ton going on. Normally, I'd be all over Boise State BYU, but BYU is what some would call not good this year. They're 2-4. They just lost to South Florida, and a South Florida team that is not all that good. But normally I'd be all over that game. But we're going to take it to 11 p.m. We're going out to the Big Island. Hawaii coming off a very, very, very bad loss. I'm sorry, everybody. I told you to watch Boise State, Hawaii, because I thought it would be good. Turns out it was not. That's because that game was not played in Hawaii. It was played in Boise. So the cold took away all of Cole McDonald's powers. It's just kind of how it works. This game back on the Big Island, Air Force get favored by 2.5. So it's option football versus a team that doesn't know what a running back is. So this should be super fun. I fully expect this game to kind of go like the Army-Oklahoma game, but like at a much lower level, where Air Force tries to hold onto the ball as much as possible and keep it away from Hawaii. We'll see if Hawaii's defense can actually get Air Force off the field and get the ball back into Cole McDonald's hands. That's this week's Group of 5 report. Have fun. You don't need to watch Michigan Penn State. I fully expect that game to end like 15 to 12.5 or something like that. I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to win that game, but it's just going to end with a really dumb score. So, hey, have fun this weekend. Watch some Group of 5 football, and see you next week.
AJ, thank you very much. We will check those out. Before we get to our regular games, I should point out that there's for us anyway, there's no big nude Saturday, so neighbors will appreciate that. At least not a game that we're going to talk about. Before we get to the good stuff, before we get to the main games, we both had, as we were discussing about what we're going to talk about this week, we both had eyes on our games that they're not top 25 matchups, but they're kind of interesting, and it's like, okay, and we each have, there's like one team that we're looking at that's like, are they that good? Or could they do this? I'm not sure. Carla, yours is in the Big 12, right?
It is. I've got Baylor at Oklahoma State. I think that game's at 3:30. And Baylor,
maybe a few points.
Yeah, a few points in that game, and who knew Baylor's ranked? It was one of those things that I actually wasn't really paying attention to, and then last week I was watching like an end of game scoreboard or something, and they, and Baylor had beaten Texas Tech last week in double overtime, and it was like a ranked Baylor team is undefeated, and I was like, oh, I didn't know Baylor was ranked. Kind of like I didn't know Wake Forest was ranked. But I mean, so this game is really interesting to me. Oklahoma State's actually favored in this game, playing at home. Is Baylor for real? We're going to find out. They really haven't played anybody yet this season. There's a common opponent here in Texas Tech. Oklahoma State beat Texas Tech by 10. Baylor took them into double overtime to win that game.
Right.
So, and numbers wise, it looks like Oklahoma State would be the team to win here, this game here. And I kind of think they're going to, but this is really an interesting game. It's kind of flying under the radar. We'll find out if Baylor's for real.
Okay. I was looking at Florida at South Carolina, and there are a couple things going on here. Florida's favored by 6. But the Gamecocks have actually, we mentioned this before, have just notched. You have to call that one of the biggest wins in the program's history. I don't think that's an understatement. Here's why you pay attention. I think Florida is, even with the loss last weekend against LSU, Florida is kind of riding higher than I expected, and I think more than what you would expect if you're looking at this nationally. Are they an elite team yet, though? I'm not sure. Do they know how to win? What happens if they go on the road and get smacked in the mouth? The atmosphere in Columbia is going to be insane, even though it's a noon game. I mean, Florida should win this game. That's if you look at this. But man, if they don't, if you get through, like, if you get to halftime, this game's still close. If Florida can't get up a couple touchdowns, get up by a couple touchdowns early, if you let South Carolina hang around, that easily could be a win for the home team. So that's I'm curious about how that's going to go. But
two teams with two completely opposite weekends last weekend. South Carolina was an extreme high, and Florida played well against LSU. They hung in that game.
It was a good game.
It was a great game. But still, Florida lost a game they really wanted to win. South Carolina's riding an extreme high. That's a dangerous situation. Good game to watch.
Okay. So again, Florida, if come out strong early, or you're gonna have a game on your hands. In a nod to what AJ used to do for us, we're gonna start with Pac-12 before dark, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, which is that's like 9 a.m. on the West Coast. I'm not sure exactly how that math works out. Number 12 Oregon at number 25 Washington. Oregon is favored by 3 on the road. Carla, what do you think?
I joke that this might be the last time this year we talk about the Pac-12, because the way they keep beating up on each other, which is what we said.
I talked about this later, and it's just like, okay.
The Pac-12's a hot mess. Okay, so Oregon lost the heartbreaker in week 1 to Auburn. That was on the national stage, and then Oregon kind of fell off the national radar because they play in the Pac-12 and they play super late at night. But here's the thing. Oregon hasn't.
Yes, clap.
East Coast by, yes, clap. Yeah. So Oregon hasn't lost since the Auburn game, and they haven't allowed an opponent to get in double figures in score. So we tend to think of Oregon back in the Chip Kelly days with the flashy offenses. Like immediately when you think Oregon, that's what you think, right? You think the flashy offense, you think the crazy schemes, you think Chip Kelly, you think Mariota, you think, all those things. And
it's not that now.
It's not. No, it's the exact opposite of this. The story of this Oregon team is its defense. It's holding opponents to just shy of 9 points per game. It is number 3 in the country in scoring, ahead of your Ohio State Buckeyes. One of these things is not like the other, right? If you look at the scoring defense in national rankings, number 1 is Wisconsin, 2 is Penn State, 3 is Oregon, 4 is Ohio State. So it's like,
what the hell's going on here?
Exactly. Why is Oregon?
How did this happen?
Yeah. How can a Pac-12 team actually have a defense that's ranked up amongst the Big Ten elite? It feels really weird.
It does.
Stanford beat Washington a couple weeks ago. We talked about that. I talked about that game. One of Washington's 2 losses. And the way that Stanford won that game was they just played keep away, right? They had the time of possession in that game by like 18 minutes. The one downside that we have to Oregon in this game is that they score too damn fast. They're terrible at time of possession. So the philosophy of just play keep away and you'll win the football game doesn't work for Oregon. So they're going to have to rely on that really, really good defense. Here's the good news for Oregon in this game is that Washington's defense is its weakness, especially against the pass. That's been kind of its Achilles heel all year. Jacob Eason, the Georgia transfer, is a good quarterback for Washington, but he'll really be put to the test against an Oregon defense that is just really, really good. If you look at the common opponent here, Oregon beat Stanford, and then 2 weeks later, Stanford beat Washington. I think Oregon's the pick here. I don't think this is going to be a shootout like we're expecting because that Oregon defense is so good. This might actually look more like an ACC game than a Big 12 game. But I think Oregon is the right pick here. Their defense is just too good.
Okay. Washington, you look at Washington at the beginning of the preseason and you think, oh, okay, this on paper, solid team.
Yep.
And with the Pac-12, who knows? They could end up with a title and maybe squeak into the playoff. No, dumb losses to Cal. And to Stanford, victim of the Stanford postulate. Oregon's 1 loss to Auburn is nothing to be ashamed of. And again, week 1, and then then they've been cruising since then. They had a tight game with Cal a couple weeks ago, but no, that has not been a big deal. In the case of Oregon, as you mentioned, I mean this team has been kind of rolling quietly. Justin Herbert is 1,600 yards and 17 touchdowns. Those are not Marcus Mariota numbers, as you mentioned. But he's a really confident, experienced guy. He was a lot of people expected him to come out after last season He said he wanted to come back and finish out his eligibility in Eugene. So that means Oregon's offense is led by someone really good, really experienced, really capable. Again, not the Chip Kelly numbers, but that is a solid offense. The Huskies offense actually is comparable. I mean, if you look at if you're looking at numbers, they score of like a half point per game average more than Oregon does. So there's a little bit difference. But you mentioned the difference is on defense. They give up nearly 3 times the points and an extra 100 yards per game if you're looking at them against Oregon. And if you're looking at a comparison to an offense that did put up 77, I think, against Nevada. So a little bit of a mismatch there, but the 77 is not, but it's not an easy thing to do. That's a little scary. This is not going to be a runaway. This will be a tight-ish game, but Oregon's going to win that one on the road. Next, we have Pac-12 at dusk. I think that's what we'll call it. It's going to be 6 p.m. Saturday, so noon in whatever. Oh, they're in Utah, so I think that's actually Mountain Time. So
I think so.
Mid-afternoon. I don't know what that
Dusk is good. Dusk is good.
Number 17, Arizona State. For us, it will be dusk. Number 17, Arizona State at number 13, Utah. Utah is favored by 13.5 points by almost 2 touchdowns. What do you think?
Yeah, remember when Arizona State beat Michigan State, and we all just kind of scratched our heads, and now all of a sudden Arizona State is ranked.
Yes.
So here's the thing.
Mark Antonio's going, whew.
Yeah, right. Although that matters after they just got shut out last week, but whatever. So Arizona State has a bunch of wins, but they're all really, really, really close games, all single score games, including a win over Sacramento State, which I'm sorry, you don't want that game to be close. That's a game that you should be winning by, blowout margins, but they won by 12. It was like 19-7 or something like that. It's kind of crazy. But every other game that Arizona State has played, whether they've won or lost, it's been within a single possession, single score game. The biggest problem that Arizona State has, and the reason why it was, kind of a bit of a little bit of a head scratcher, but after we've seen Michigan State play a little bit more, it makes a little bit more sense. Arizona State's biggest weakness is its secondary. It's allowing, over 260 yards per game in passing on defense, which is a problem. That matches up well, and I think that's probably why this line is so big. That matches up well with Utah, who has a senior quarterback in Tyler Huntley, who isn't putting up mammoth numbers here, but he hasn't thrown a pick all season. He's got the experience. He's managing that offense really, really well. So the Arizona State secondary is going to have its hands full with this Utah offense. The other interesting thing here is that Utah got its primary running back last week. Back again. Okay. Backstreet's back. Never mind. Yeah, it's a bad 90s reference.
Oh boy.
So Zach Moss, another guy named Zach. Zach Moss returned last week after injury and had an immediate impact on the Utah offense, including like a 97-yard touchdown run at one point. The Utah defense is really, really good, especially against the run. They've only allowed 52 yards per game, but Arizona State's good against the run too. So we're going to find out if Zach Moss can have an impact here. I think the line is a little bit crazy here. I like how evenly distributed the Utah offense is. I think the Arizona State secondary is going to cause a problem for Arizona State's attempts to try to win this game. So I like Utah to win here at home. There is a very intriguing side story here.
What's that?
In the fact that Arizona State quarterback Jaden Daniels, who is a true freshman, another reason to pick Utah in this game because the experience under center. Jaden Daniels was actually expected to sign with Utah in the offseason, and at the last minute he flipped and went to Arizona State. So Jaden Daniels. So there's a side story here. Daniels is really mobile. So he will test that Utah defense quite a bit too. But I still like the Utes in this game.
Someone says, "Hey, Jaden, it gets cold in Salt Lake City.
It snows here.
Yeah, it snows. You don't want to. Okay. this game is why I'm like, okay, if this is the last time we really have to talk seriously about the Pac-12, I'm okay. Because what's going to happen, and it'll be at about this point of the season where the intermeshing of teams and schedules and games just sort of eliminates everybody. And this game is also the perfect exemplar of Pac-12 football and how the season goes. Two legit top 20 teams. One has a loss against a Southern Cal team that has a 15-year-old starting quarterback. One with a loss to a Colorado team that's tied for last in the Pac-12 South. Identical records. Both teams are like in the middle of the road nationally. If we're looking at statistics, Utah's a better rushing game. Sun Devils quarterback Jaden Daniels actually puts up better passing numbers than the senior kid at Utah. Both have pretty good scoring defenses, with the Utes putting up slightly better numbers. I'm not sure why. I guess senior quarterback versus freshman quarterback. Maybe that's why this line is the way it is. I checked the weather forecast. It's not supposed to snow in Salt Lake City this weekend, so I'm not sure. That would make me understand why Utah would have a 2-touchdown advantage over Arizona State. I don't know. And I had to look for this. I have a penny. I have a penny right here. So I am going to, let's say heads is the home team. Let's say heads is Utah. Tails is going to be Arizona State. It's heads. I'm picking Utah. Because honestly, this isn't going to matter later in a couple weeks. No. But it could be an interesting game. So I'm not saying don't watch, but yeah, her.
Well, the other thing is nobody can watch it. Everybody's really mad about this because the game is only being shown on the Pac-12 network, and so people that are fans of both teams are like really, really annoyed that this game is only on the Pac-12 network. So
I did not look that up. So don't watch it.
So watch the game or don't watch the game if you don't get the Pac-12. And that's the Pac-12 in a nutshell.
We're not talking about the Pac-12 for the rest of the season. I don't care. Bowlapalooza. If it comes up in Bowlapalooza, that's fine. I don't care. The game that Carla and I care about is at 7:30 on Saturday. Number 16 team up north at number 7 Penn State. Penn State is favored by 9. Carla, I'm going first.
Okay.
When we talk about Ohio State, I typically go last and sort of build myself into a lather. I know you're not as you typically don't do that, being the sports writer, and I appreciate your calm level approach to these games. I am not that way, but I'm going to give you the chance to wrap this up.
Okay.
I have a very a quick thing, and as we've done a lot this season, let's take a look at where Michigan is right now. 5-1, 3-1 in the conference. Okay, that's fine. The defense that was supposed to be so good is giving up 17 a game. It's not terrible, even though I think they took a step backwards in the game against Illinois, and they gave up 25 or 26 points last weekend. Offense, 73rd passing yards in the country, 78th in rushing yards, 59th scoring per game. Jimmy, my friend Jimmy, Minnesota has a better offense than you do, and it's actually not close. So you're going into Happy Valley, but they're kind of quietly. I mean, and I would think a Penn State fan might appreciate this. Kind of quiet, 6-0, right? It's just sort of like,
yeah.
Okay. No one is going to confuse Sean Clifford for McSorley. But the guy's got 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. Solid running game. And where you really need to pay attention, and we sort of referenced this earlier when we were talking about team defense. Penn State's giving up just 8 points a game, and that's the number you need to pay attention to here, because a mediocre Michigan offense versus they were second, third in the country. I didn't look up the ranking.
Penn State's second in scoring defense.
Okay, yeah. So, Jimmy, if you think you're going to bring your offense into Happy Valley on a whiteout night and beat Penn State, you are dead wrong. And the thing is, we're more than halfway through the season. Penn State Michigan, 4 of their last 5 games, Penn State, Michigan State. I'm sorry, Penn State, Notre Dame next weekend.
Yep.
Michigan State, then I think Indiana, then Ohio State. And if things don't turn around for Jimmy and his Wolverines very, very quickly, he's going to have a problem at the end of the season, because that is brutal. But in case, so everyone's clear, Penn State's winning this game on Saturday. Carla, please.
So the first thing I want to say is I must address the folks over at our lovely competition for pregame shows as College Game Day, since you threw out the idea that I should be the guest picker.
Absolutely.
Herbie, I'm waiting to hear from you, buddy. He lives here in Nashville, so I guess that means we're neighbors.
Oh,
so
that's right. That's right.
So Herbie, call my people. I will go to Happy Valley on Saturday and be your guest picker. That being said, I just want to be there on Saturday, right? That's just one of the best atmospheres in all of college football, a whiteout, and especially this game, because normally I look at a Michigan team coming in on a whiteout night, and I am like you with Ohio State, and I'm going, this makes me a little bit nervous. And you know what? This time, I'm not nervous at all. Because here's the thing.
Yes.
I was nervous last week against Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State won that game against Iowa. It wasn't pretty. There were some terrible calls on it.
One especially. Yeah.
One especially, yeah. But here's the thing. When you go back and you look at it, you said that Minnesota has a better offense than Michigan. You know who else has a better offense than Michigan?
Pretty much everyone.
Iowa.
Yeah, that's true.
Statistically, in every category other than scoring, Iowa has a better offense than Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Penn State handled it last week on the road.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing at home in the friendly confines of Beaver Stadium in a whiteout.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my money on that every single day of the week. Because here's the thing: the key to this game is the Penn State defense just has to stop Shea Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan can't run the football to begin with, and they're going up against one of the top rush defenses in the country. I am not concerned about a run game. If Michigan is going to win this game, they have to win it on the arms of Shea Patterson. And okay, if Penn State has a weakness, and they've had this weakness for a while, their secondary is something worth exploiting. I get that. Okay. But if you limit Shea Patterson down to a single offense, we watched Wisconsin do this to them, right? I mean, Wisconsin shut down.
And that was a beating.
That was a beating, exactly. And Michigan's offense has not improved since then. So why should I expect something different out of this team when they haven't really shown any sort of market improvement? Here's the other thing I love about this game, because you went down this path, so I have a note here.
Please.
That either yesterday or today on ESPN that Paul Feinbaum made the comment that if Michigan loses this game, will it cost Jimmy Harbaugh his job?
Not this game, but this weekend, next weekend, maybe, maybe. And that's before he gets to his rivalry games. Right? It puts him in a really, really tough spot.
And it's interesting when you get somebody, I agree. And it's really interesting when you get somebody like a Feinbaum who weighs in on something outside of the SEC. Because Feinbaum doesn't weigh in on stuff outside of the SEC unless A, he's got a tip, or B, he's got a really good hunch. And that's something to keep an eye on this game. But no, this game's going to be close. It's going to be a hard fought battle, but nope. Nittany Lions are going to win. Nittany Lions are going to win this game. They're going to pull away in the second half. And there's gonna be some partying in Happy Valley on Saturday night.
That, ladies, boys and girls, is as close as you'll ever hear to Carla trash talking about a game.
True. I feel really good about it. Like I should be nervous about this game. I feel great about this game.
It is evident, guys. You can find the Carla and Crafty Show with a brand new trash talking levels on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and by now Spotify. We can move for that. Can we move? As well as on a variety of other podcasting services. You can also watch us babble on YouTube or our Facebook page. If you dig the show, please rate and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business. And as always, come back next week to find out exactly how wrong or not wrong we were. Carla, any final thoughts?
We're gonna have to change that tagline to find out how right we were. We've been really
We've done, a little bit. We've actually been doing pretty well this season.
We've done really well this season, and I'm gonna be doing really well on Saturday.
Saturday, I don't think. Yeah, I'm not. I have to work on Sunday. I have a day shift on Sunday. But I can. There's no reason why I can't sit and watch Penn State beat the crap out of Michigan. Carla.
Yes.
Enjoy your game on Saturday.
I will.
I'm going to do my best to enjoy my game on Saturday. And boys and girls, whatever games you are watching, I hope you have as much fun as we will. And we will see you back here next week. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.